I'm getting the thumbs up from engineering, which means that we have Jenn and Trin on the line.
Hey!
What's up?
We've been just sitting here in the studio dancing for like the last 5 minutes, just hoping that you guys would.
Well, they put you on the ISO monitor there, and we got to see the dancing for at the very least the last minute or so, which was a lot of fun. I appreciated that.
Embarrassing.
Engineer, can you move us off Trin's beautiful face?
That's on.
No, that's on.
Or more.
Other way.
There we go.
Wait.
There we go. So we're right in the center between Jenn and Trin.
Perfect.
Jenn and Trin, welcome to Desert Bus. Thank you so much for calling in.
Yay.
Having us.
Jenn and Trin, for those in our audience who don't know, they are the co-hosts of Friendshipping, a weekly feel-good advice show. It is an amazing podcast, which I highly recommend, which I believe available iTunes, Audible, all of the usual podcasty places. Is that correct?
That is accurate. Yes, thank
Excellent.
you for the plug.
Yeah, and we're going to do several more. And on top of that, Jenn currently works for Cards Against Humanity, who has generously donated some prizes to us, and is also the head of community for Black Box, a shipping company for independent artists. Trin is currently doing digital games outreach at Kickstarter. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, and you are currently also a writer for 1001 Odysseys by Asmati Games.
I am, and they're streaming that game at the exact same time this is happening.
Oh, wow. Well, and you chose us.
Oh, I did, and because they can do this without me. Jenn can't get along without me. No. I'm here for her.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, big congratulations on that. That was actually even new information to me, was that you were a writer on that, so that makes me super happy.
Thank you. It makes me super happy, too. It's been a very fun project,
Yeah.
and I appreciate you bringing it up.
Awesome. Would you be able to tell us a little bit about Friendshipping, and for people who may not be familiar with it?
Would love to.
You want to do it?
Sure, I'll start.
Hit
Yeah.
it, Jenn.
You pick up where I leave off. And so every week we take questions from our online audience, usually by email, sometimes by Twitter, and we do our best to answer them. We get questions about like interpersonal relationships, sometimes romantic relationships, but our main focus is like questions about friendship.
Awesome.
And being nice.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about it, is that, like, it is arguably just the most genuinely kind podcast I've ever listened to. Like, all of your advice is amazing, and you're both such wonderful people, and it comes across in every episode.
Thank you, Andrew. We try very hard, and it's honestly, like, we both work very hard to uplift each other, and we try to make each other look super good. And so when our podcast comes out, we look amazing.
Yeah, it helps that we have an editor.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
We keep him pretty busy, I would say.
Yeah.
I was definitely going to mention that because people have often complimented me on my positivity, and I'm just like, I look up to Serge, I look up to Jenn, I look up to Trin. Like, Friendshipping is an influence on that, and has encouraged me to be a kinder person.
Oh, Andrew,
Honestly,
thank
me
you.
too. Like doing it every week. We record about an hour every week. We release our shows on Thursday.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a good mental health exercise for us too, because you can't really. We try to practice what we preach, basically, which is easier said than done. But I'm gonna come up with some more cliches, and
But it's good. It's a good weekly reminder to like be nice.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to witness you both did a live episode on stage at XOXO Festival back in September.
We did.
Was that your first time doing an episode live?
No, that was definitely our first time doing it. I think was that our biggest like audience?
Yeah, I mean that was our first time doing that format. When we've done episodes before, but usually to smaller audiences, or we do it panel style, like we'll have friends like guests on the show. Yeah. But this was definitely the first time that it was like us sitting on a couch with microphones and people just there to see it without like an additional billing. And we were very nervous.
Yes, I am still nervous, and it already happened a couple months ago.
No, I think I saw you briefly before when we were talking outside. I think Henry had you doing state capitals.
No, dude, David Malky told me.
Yes.
Yeah. He was like, because I was like, I'm so nervous. And he's like, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to distract you by asking you about state capitals. We're going to do them in alphabetical order. We're going to do this whole thing. And then we were doing it for so long that we like slowly drew a crowd of like our 15 friends, like helping me with them.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Nobody knows all of the state capitals in the United States. You think you do.
Yeah.
But you don't.
But you don't.
I would believe it. The only person that I've ever known who knows that is Yakko Warner. So.
Oh,
I did at
the
one
Animaniac.
point. I did at one point, like last summer, I was bored and at work. It was like a slow point at cards, so I was like, I'm going to learn something new. And what I learned was the capitals. Man, if you don't like have a reason to learn the capitals, you will not remember them.
Yeah. I didn't.
Ask me any state.
Montana.
Alabama.
Panic.
Helena.
I don't know if that's correct, so I'm just going to give it to you.
Helena is Montana, I think.
North Dakota.
That's a state.
No, not a place.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right.
West Dakota. South Virginia.
If you want somebody to
Indianapolis.
verify the accuracy of this, you're going to need to get a non-Canadian, because I'm no help.
Fair
Oh,
enough.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Our northern friends.
Yep.
Our friends to the north.
Hello. You mentioned in there, Jen, about cards. We were talking about this earlier. You do a lot of work producing the holiday events for Cards Against Humanity. Is that correct?
Yeah, sure do. We try to do something funny and weird around Black Friday and in the month of December.
Yep.
Every year.
Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of a lot of those events, even though some of them are a little controversial.
Cards Against Humanity controversial? That's ridiculous.
That never
I mean, we
happens.
did once dig a hole to nowhere. I
Yeah.
can see why you would find that upsetting.
That is one of my all-time favorites, because I was like, no, I know exactly what's happening with this. They're going to dig the hole, and then they are going to stop, and then they're going to walk away exactly like they said they were going to do.
Oh, I'm so glad you got it. That's one of Trin's favorites, too.
Yeah, but we didn't just walk away. That was back when I was working at Cards. We didn't just walk away. We had to fill in the hole again for insurance purposes.
Yeah, we had to meet to fill it in.
The filling in happened off camera, though. The live stream ended at that point, right?
Yeah, there was a live stream, and people got really excited, really into it.
Yeah.
We live streamed it for 72 hours, and the YouTube, it was promoted to the front of the page or something on YouTube, and it had millions of views. And every time a construction worker would walk by, people would be like,
nuts.
"Oh my God,
Yeah.
the lights are on! The truck is beeping!"
Yeah.
It was delightful.
It's a little bit like the holiday Yule log video where people get really excited for the hand to come in and poke the logs, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, when, like if you just make a stream about like almost nothing, people will just sort of zero in on that minutia and get really excited about it.
It's a really delightful corner of the internet.
Yeah.
We didn't we save like a barrel of the dirt?
We do have some of the dirt in the office.
Oh,
I really
wow.
want to put
Tupperware
it. I
full
want
of
to
dirt.
put it in like a vial and hang it around my neck.
That would be really good.
Yeah, kind of cool.
I'm
really
just
good.
like as someone who personally likes pranks and like silly things and goofs, particularly like harmless ones or ones in which somebody who is on the receiving end of the prank appreciates it. I love the idea that with a lot of the Black Friday ones, there's like with the whole nobody is harmed by that. You fill it back in. We raise all our prices by $5. It's just completely unexpected. I'm a big fan of that. Like I love the kind of stuff that you do with that.
Thank you. I like it too.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, but we like doing stuff that on Black Friday no one else in their right mind would do.
Are you actively, I'm not going to ask you what it is, obviously,
Yeah.
but are you actively still working on the one for this Black Friday, or are you like finished and you're just waiting to sort of spring the trap?
Well-
I mean, are you even doing something for Black Friday?
That's the right question. We might
That's
not
a
even be
fair
doing
question.
anything. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know when Black Friday is, because again, Canadian.
It's the day after Thanksgiving, which is next. Oh my gosh, it's next Friday. Oh my God, I have
I'm
so much
so
work to do
sorry.
or not do.
Is it next Friday?
Yeah, I don't know. I might not. I don't know. It
All
doesn't
right,
matter.
Now that I've given Jen an existential crisis, Trin, I have a question for you. How are you enjoying working at Kickstarter?
Me? I like it a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's been good. I get so as the digital games outreach lead. That's like a long title for like weird millennial internet job. So basically, I have my hands in everything that the games department puts out digitally. So if you get our Kickstarter games newsletter, I write those, and if you listen to our podcast, which you should, we have a podcast. I think you two would get along. It's at IthinkYouTwoWoulldGetAlong.com.
Yeah, I believe you've brought
Kathleen
has been on that one time. Kathleen, who were you on that episode with?
I was on that episode with Carly as Miley.
Yes.
And we talked about comedy and satire and why it's important to punch up.
Yep.
It was really good.
That makes I can't believe it too. You hadn't been in a room before because like you're both amazing at that.
I mean, we'd been.
Oh no, they knew each other before. It's fine.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
No big deal. But like it was, when I got the file back from our studio producer, Alex Cox, she had labeled it roller coaster of feminist emotions podcast file whatever the hell, and it was really, really a wonderful episode. So if you want to listen to Kathleen's episode, just go to IthinkYouTwoWoulldGetAlong.com. Yeah, basically what it is I play Friendship Sommelier, which is Kathleen named me that, and I put two games industry people who are at least tangentially related to Kickstarter in a room and try to get them to be friends together. And I host it with my coworkers Anya and Luke, and it's a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite projects that I do. Thank you for asking me about it.
Yeah, of course. I was also going to ask, like, what do you find is sort of the most rewarding part of your new position there at Kickstarter? What is it that fills you with those warm, fuzzy feelings of happiness?
You know, it's interesting because I have worked in the games industry in a variety of like weird positions now.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure you do. And it's been nice to be an assist on other people's games, you know? Like, it feels good to be the boost that maybe gets somebody over the edge on their goal. It's a very fun kind of behind the scenes look at what people do. And I just really enjoy it. And the other thing I really like doing is making, like, really ridiculous jokes online. And so that's what I get to do.
Yeah. Excellent. Like I definitely identify with that for sure. Like I love being able to gas up my friends and like shout out their projects and like tell people how great they are, especially if they're doing something like a Kickstarter where like that can translate into goodwill and success and like help push them over the top there. Because it's like, I don't know, it always comes from such a genuine good place, but it's one of my favorite things to do. So I really like that. Do you feel like you two would be up for maybe some friendship questions from the Desert Bus audience?
Yes. We've never not been ready for this.
Okay, excellent.
We're born ready.
All right. I'm going to take a look at a couple here. The first one that has been brought up is how do you handle when your friend circle is making more perhaps inappropriate jokes than you feel comfortable with?
More inappropriate jokes than you feel comfortable with. Well, so that can mean a ton of things.
Yeah.
I actually have to text somebody to bring me a power charger, so Jen's going to take the lead on this one.
Okay.
Yeah, Trin's computer is dying. So this is hard, and we hear shades of this question pretty often. I think especially from younger people who are just kind of learning what their boundaries are. Although, you can learn your boundaries at any age, really, but we do hear from young people a lot who were like, it occurred to me that I don't really like it when you say that word, or when you said that joke that really actually bums me out. We always advocate for you advocating for your boundaries, because we always like to say your friends don't want to hurt you. Your true friends would not want to hurt your feelings, but you do need to clue them in that they are hurting your feelings, and it's not easy to do. It's not easy to like raise your hand, so to speak, and use I statements like, I really feel sad when you say that word. But you that's a starting point.
Please
sorry.
Go ahead.
I totally agree with Jen. I think that's a really big part of it. And also, if you had been participating in these inappropriate jokes previously, your friends might just not know that you don't like this, and so you are changing business as usual. Yeah. And so it's important to acknowledge that, even if it's for the right reasons, even if it's like nobody should argue against this and like this is the right call. If you participated in bad behavior, that's something you have to acknowledge when you change it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know I was okay with this before. I am no longer okay with it. This is me being no longer okay with it. I think it's worth stating that your position has now changed.
Yes, I totally agree.
Awesome. That sounds like really good advice to me, as well as someone who, when I was much younger, I was often the person who was making too many inappropriate jokes, because that was sort of a thing I enjoyed. That was something I was like, I'm going to push the boundaries and everything like that, and my friends would participate in these jokes, but it wouldn't always immediately be obvious to me that they were uncomfortable. It was only once my friends were like, hey, that doesn't make me feel great, because I liked messing around with the edges of that, but I didn't want to make my friends feel uncomfortable.
Right.
And that was the specific thing that got through to me and got me to think about that behavior and evaluate that behavior and change that behavior. Because I'm in a very different place than I was at the beginning of my early 20s, kind of thing.
Right. And inappropriate jokes can, again, like we mentioned before, can mean so many things. I mean, it can mean that it's just of a sexual nature, and some people are cool with that and some people aren't. And sometimes when you say inappropriate jokes, what you really mean is garbage thoughts are coming out of your mouth.
Yeah.
And you deal with those two things, I think, two different ways. The one, it would be, let's sit down, let's change what we're doing. And the other would be, hey, what you said was out of line and I don't like it.
Yeah. I think that's some really good advice. I'm going to go to another question here. This might be a little bit trickier, but how do you handle a situation in which your significant other, or one of your significant others, has toxic friends that you feel are not just occasionally inappropriate, but legitimately negative towards them? How can you deal with that, supporting your partner while not sort of intruding on their autonomy and who they choose to be friends with?
Are we able to ask follow-up questions? Is the asker still available for that, or?
I'm afraid not. These questions come in via Twitter.
I kind of figured, yeah. Because toxic means a million different things. I mean, toxic can mean just on a personal level that those two people don't get along and that they treat each other poorly, and that's that. Toxic can mean, we actually just recently, last week, had an asker whose significant other was very sexist, and the boyfriend, it was a boyfriend, wasn't saying anything to shut down the sexist jokes and the sexism, and that's a very different thing too. Yeah. So I mean, we could just make up a few different scenarios and walk you through.
Sort of expanding a little bit on what I have here, because it's a very short question, but the situation that I'm sort of envisioning is my partner has a friend who is consistently negative towards them, is consistently cruel towards them, and this, I do not feel that this person is a good friend to my partner, but I don't know how to handle that situation.
Well, so I think the first component of this that everybody needs to remember is that most people don't take time to talk about good behavior. Mm-hmm. So your friends are always going to have bad behavior occasionally. And everybody, I feel like, goes through a situation where they have a friend who's just kind of, you just have to have like a toxic spiral sometimes, I feel like. So I think that you first have to acknowledge, I guess with all of this, is it just that they are only telling you the bad stuff and that there is good stuff? And the way that you can figure that out is say well, so why are we still hanging out with this guy? Tell me something good.
What do they bring to the table?
What do they bring to the table? Are they a good force in your life at all, or is this how it is all the time? Okay. Because it's not you. You are not the friend of the situation. You are a third party, and you have to remember that even as close to one of the friends as you are still a third party.
Yeah, because it's easy for you to get in that mentality of this is my partner, this is someone I care deeply about. You want to kind of get very defensive and up in their face, and you kind of need to dial that back. Is sort of what you're saying.
100%, yeah. Okay. Because again, and it's always you know how some people will have their partner that they complain about sometimes or whatever. Sure. And everybody complains about their partner to their friends.
Absolutely.
But you don't sit down your friends and say, I need to rant for half an hour about all the good stuff my partner's been doing. Nobody does that. So from their perspective, your partner sounds like garbage, but maybe isn't.
So it seems like the first step is information gathering.
Yes.
Talk to your partner and find out what the actual situation is. Ask questions like, how do they treat you when I'm not around? What am I not seeing? What are they doing for you? When do they make you feel good and loved?
Right.
Do they make you feel good and loved? These are questions that the answers will tell you a lot, I think, about how bad the situation is.
Well, and I feel like just even asking those questions might also get your partner to sort of evaluate that in order to be able to answer.
Exactly.
Like that gets them to be like, how does this person positively impact my life? And if they can't think of a good answer for that, they may sort of come to that conclusion on their own if it's a situation where that person isn't really adding a lot and they're like, okay, I need to talk to my friend about this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hope anyway.
That's really good advice. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, professionals. I have another one here. This one's a little close to my heart. I don't know how many people know this, but I grew up moving around quite a bit. My father was an RCMP officer, so I moved every sort of 3 to 4 years my entire young life. And moving can be really difficult for people. So it's a lot easier when you're younger. You can go to you have to go to school, and there's a lot of other people like you at school. It's a little trickier when you're an adult. So this question was sort of what are some tips that you could do to make friends as an adult in a new city?
Volunteer.
Yeah, that's like our number one thing is look for something that you super care about and then go for it. Whether it's political organizing or the knitting circle
or
at your
desert
library,
bus.
or desert bus, or making friends with all you. You will find somebody who at least has one thing in common with you.
Yep.
And I would say, as you're trying new things like volunteering or going to local events, go easy on yourself.
Yeah.
I personally do not like anything the first time I try it. I didn't like recording our show when we first did it for the first couple weeks because it made me nervous and scared.
Yeah.
But now it's like my favorite thing to do, sincerely. Like it's the highlight of my week. So I would say give yourself a couple tries. Like, I'm not sure if this event at the library is for me, but I'm going to go the first 2 weeks and see how it goes.
That was someone's advice earlier in the run, was try anything new twice.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't apply if you like sincerely hate it, but if you're just kind of like me and you're kind of like, I don't know about this, I need a push, like I need to commit to a little bit. Also, you might not find the right volunteering thing for you right off the bat.
Yes.
I volunteered for a little bit, helping like 7th grade kids with their homework, and it was amazing and I love them, but like it was hard on me. It was draining. And it just didn't feel exactly right. Like there's nothing wrong with the organization or the kids. It was just like, I don't think I'm very good at this. Like, I'll try this again someday, but maybe not right now. And I ended up volunteering. I volunteer now with an animal shelter, which is so much easier on me. It doesn't feel like work at all. Like, it feels really like I get to go pet dogs for a couple hours. So you might need to try a couple things, and you might be surprised by what actually works for you and what doesn't.
Also, like, very much go easy on yourself. Nobody is going to find that friend group, that best friend, in a week. You may have a couple of months where you're going to see the movies on your own, where you have mac and cheese night with your cats on Thursdays, and that's okay. You're not a weird loser or something like that. It's just, this is how it works. It's like when you get a new job and you're garbage at that job for like the first couple months, and then you kind of get the feel of it around like 6 months or so. Like, that's life too with friends.
I can definitely back that up with experience. Like, again, as somebody who has spent their entire life moving, as somebody who is kind of naturally gregarious and finds it really easy to make friends, I have moved as an adult to a city where for months I have found difficulty like finding friends that I felt comfortable with that, and that's, as Trin said, like, that's normal. Like, just be kind to yourself, push that comfort boundary when you can, go out and volunteer, go out and find things, local groups that you can meet up with. No, that sounds like really good advice for that. That makes me really happy.
It's almost like they're professionals.
Exactly.
We're like vaguely professionals.
You can't be a professional at friendship, which I kind of like because it takes the pressure off us. Like, no one expects us to do that good a job.
I don't have like a master's in friending.
They don't really give out that degree just yet?
Not yet.
Okay. I just want to check in with the room here. Is there anybody in the room who had a question for Jenn and Trin? I feel like actually, Kathleen, I'm going to get you to do that first because you're mic'd. And I'm going to check with engineering to see if I can turn this thing on.
Yeah. I feel this is a question for me, but also probably literally every human in the world. Everybody is a busy adult, and you often build. I'm sorry, I'm sitting very casually because I hurt my bum earlier falling over. Like it's
I like that Kevin found you though. This is real good.
Yeah, hi Kevin. I am a busy adult, and sometimes I go a long time without talking to people or like seeing them because they don't live in the same city as me, or I'm just busy and they're just busy, and then like there's an event and I don't have time to see somebody at that event, and then I just feel like a bad friend and they don't want to talk to me and that I should never contact and bother them again. So is there like a pep talk for that imposter syndrome goblin to be like, get out of there, you little jerk, that's not how people feel about you, they're just also busy?
Trin is like the expert at answering this one. Because you live this a little bit.
I do. So I'm a person who, oh man, every time I have a social interaction, it's really like I need 48 hours in a dark room to like recoup my introvert energy, which is strange since, you know, I have a podcast about friendship with my friend, but like really being social is very taxing for me on my energy. So I guess there's a few components of that. One is the pep talk of everybody that... I was going to say everybody is an adult, but you know that's not true. Some people aren't adults on the world.
But in this situation, everyone's an adult.
In this situation, everybody is an adult. Everybody has a job. Everybody has things happening. You single-handedly cannot ruin somebody's life or day, more than likely. I think it's also a reminder of like, I could never be cool enough to ruin someone's day as part of it. By me not gracing somebody with my presence, so it's like kind of like a self-check there. And also like you can do a little, not really damage control, but like if you feel like you've caused damage by not seeing somebody, send them a little text being like, hey, I wish I could have caught up with you at this event, or like, I just saw this thing in this store, here's a picture of this like stuffed thing and I was thinking of you. I think those
a really good one.
Yeah, those little things, those little like texts just to say
matter.
Like, they do, because nobody has an insight into your brain to know what you're thinking. I assume that all of your friends aren't assuming that you're like just like hanging out with cooler people or whatever. But I mean, if you're worried about that, you can say, hey, I wasn't hanging out with cooler people. I was in my cat printed pajamas eating a burrito all night.
You also might be a cactus friend.
Yeah.
Which is a term we use on the show. We've been using it for a while. It's like a friend that doesn't need a lot of watering. Like you might just be someone that needs to check in every couple months. And you will probably do well with fellow cactus friends.
Yeah.
That's me. I am prickly and dry.
I'm a cactus friend too, for the most part, so I feel ya.
I'm more of like a tropical plant. I can't take a lot of sunlight, and I need the exact amount of watering, or else I'll get root rot.
It's the most Trin sentence I've ever heard.
I'm like a Pilea involucrata.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Turn it up.
Turn it back down again.
I'm going to keep us on the questions here, but I just want to quickly let people know who are watching that we do have that $7.05 donation drive is still going for that lovely Pokemon cat bed there. The timer is ticking down, but it's going to continue until the end of this call. So we're still accepting donations of $7.05 until we let Jenn and Trin go. But we're not going to do that just yet because we had another question from the room. Emily.
I have two questions, one of which is super short and the other of which is even shorter.
All right.
So the first question is, do you have a word for friends that, you know, you might only see once a year, but when you do see them, it's like you've never left?
I think cactus friend covers that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not the exact term, but like it's when you get watered hard, and then then you go like months without watering her.
Yeah, I for 10 years I lived apart from my best friend. She moved away in 4th grade. It was very traumatic for everyone involved. But for like 10, I didn't see her again. I saw her a little bit, but we didn't like hang out again until we were like 19, 20. And it was like nothing changed. Yeah. And that's a long time to go without like, I mean, we were still like the same people at heart. We still like loved Harry Potter and other nerd stuff. So this is definitely possible. And I think Cactus Friend can totally cover that.
I think so.
The other question is, this is not the first time you've mentioned finding knitting groups. Is there a friendshipping ravelry group, and can I join?
There isn't one, but the reason why I keep on mentioning, I mention knitting groups at the library all the time on the podcast too, because I didn't join, but I was very close to joining.
So you know of one.
I know that they exist. I have not participated in one yet.
The other event we always talk about and never participate in is karaoke. For us, mentioning karaoke is like an extrovert's dream and our personal nightmare. So when we cover events you might have fun at, we try to mention something that like Trin and I would like staying at home with pets,
eating only appetizers for 4 hours.
Yeah, that kind of thing. We also try to cover events that like people that are more extroverted or like going out would like to do. And for some reason, we always say karaoke.
Yeah, karaoke sounds like a 4-hour panic attack.
Yeah.
That was all I had.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
I had one other question here that I just included that is a little bit selfish.
You got a microphone right there.
Wait. Can I just wait in? As somebody who can't sing and who finds the idea of performing in front of strangers to be like some sort of existential nightmare from beyond the stars. I know. How did I get into this job? Private room karaoke is great because you can order alcohol to your room and only drink and sing songs with people who won't judge you out loud.
Agreed. That's like the solve on this for us, I think.
That's the ideal karaoke, is to not really karaoke.
I like that. I noticed the two of you actually tweeted about a problem the other day that I saw on the Twitters, and I was wondering if you'd come up with a solution for this yet. How can we solve the problem of the inadequate amount of kissing in professional hockey? There's not enough, right?
It's got to be a systemic change. I mean, we've got to start
grassroots, people.
Yeah, we've got to work from the bottom until we're here, and just like Canadian hockey player Drake says.
Yeah.
I'd be the change you want to see in the world, I guess.
Yeah, go kiss some hockey players.
Yeah. And no, I feel like it's definitely a problem that involves both bottoms as well as tops, but we can work on that.
Yeah, switches. I didn't say anything bad. That wasn't a swear. It's a Nintendo thing.
It was a Nintendo thing.
Yeah.
Perfect. Was there anything else that you would that you'd like to talk about while you're here with us at Desert Bus? Is there anything that was on your mind that you wanted to chat with us about?
How long are we here for?
Oh, like how long are you here for, or how long are we here for? Because we got a big clock.
Like, are we trying to fill a half hour? Because we can do it.
Well, we have actually filled it. We've actually filled the half hour.
Oh, it's over. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like closing statements, not like, please, for the love of God, will you keep talking for another 10 minutes?
No,
I get it.
It's sort of, if you have more that you'd like to talk about, we could keep going, but we're generally doing the calls around half hour, but I'm happy to push it a little further if you've got stuff you want to talk about.
I was just going to say, like, I could give some suggestions if people need houseplant advice. Like
friendshippingpodcast.com.
Yeah.
All the content from us you could ever want.
Oh, wait, I have some houseplant advice. Jen, you're Trin, both of you. I think Trin's the plant person, though. I can't keep a frickin' fern alive to save my life.
A fern?
I have so many other finicky plants, but ferns all die.
Ferns are hard.
Ferns are difficult.
Especially staghorn ferns.
Staghorn ferns are very difficult because they're epiphytes, which means that they take water through their leaves. Kathleen, do you know what kind of fern you have?
I have tried multiple ferns. I have tried maidenhair ferns, and they have curled up and died and been sad. And then I got a Boston fern, because apparently those are the easy ones. And then it was like, ha-ha, I die even faster. Lol.
So you might not be a fern person.
You might not be a fern person. So first of all, Boston ferns, not everybody knows this, but you gotta shake them every now and again because their fronds will die. They just will. It's just like how your hair gets long and you've gotta cut some off. That's what Boston ferns do. So you shake them and you get all the dead fronds out. And you do it like once a week, and if you don't, then your fern looks like butt. It looks like butt even though it's still alive. A few things. Ferns love water. They love humidity, so you gotta give them a little spritzel, or you keep them in a bathroom. I agree with Jen. You may be a cactus friend in more than one way. A cactus friend personally, and a cactus friend as in you buy cactus.
I have something to add.
Yeah, Jen is also plant friend.
Friendshipping.
Friendshipping.
Oh.
That's it.
That's what I wanted to say. Oh, that's good. That was good.
The spin-off.
I always recommend peperomia. It's a good genus for beginners or people who kill a lot of plants because it's a semi-succulent. So it means that you interact with it more than a succulent plant, but it is also like less killable than something that needs a ton of water, like a fern. Boom, pen drop.
Nailed it.
Get them peps.
Help the crud out of it.
We've received friendshipping advice. We've received friendshipping advice.
Friendshipping, yeah.
You mentioned friendshipping.com is an excellent place to find the both of you. Is there anywhere else on the internet that we could find you that you'd like to mention?
Yeah.
Do friendship on Twitter?
Yeah, you can find Do Friendship on Twitter is our tweet twats. If you want to send us advice, questions, friendshippingpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Sorry, I dropped my phone. Jen is an internet bad boy at Twitter account Jenn Dangerous, Jen with 2 N's. The second N stands for not good on the internet, bad boy on the internet.
Right.
Yeah. And then I'm Trin and Tonic on Twitter, which is a gin and tonic, but with me inside of it. That's
Perfect.
it.
Excellent. Well, thank you both so much for calling into Desert Bus. We're really happy to have you every year. And just like on a little bit of a personal note, I love and miss you both.
Oh, Andrew, you made me blow out my mic. I was so excited about that. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you both.
We love coming every year, and we love telling your fans what to do.
Excellent. Is there anything else you want to tell them what to do as a closer?
Be kind to each other.
And vote.
And donate to Desert Bus.
And give each other houseplants.
Aw.
Okay.
Walk dogs.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you both so much for calling in.
Thank you.
Bye, friends.
Bye.
I think they'll call.
Huge shout out once again to both Jenn and Trin of Friendshipping, the podcast, available at friendshipping.com. We are big fans of theirs. We're really happy that they were able to call in again this year. And anytime that they're able to call in, they always have such good advice.
Yeah.
And I'm literally saying that as somebody who is somewhat known in this circle for having a bunch of friends. I'm just they're ahead of me at every step of the game. It's great.